it so we can send it to people.
Okay.
Okay. So hello Naomi Labe. So this photograph is actually a photograph of our solar panels. That I took by mistake. I stuck my camera out the window and clicked, and it looks very professional.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start with the summary, because I'm going to obviously tell you lots of things about the solar panels and our experience, and you might get the impression that there's stuff that we weren't so happy with, and obviously there've been sort of ups and downs, but in general, we're very happy we did it. It works amazingly, and it's a thrill to be that that we've actually got this thing producing electricity, and we're getting money back from Khibrat Khashmal, and so we're very happy we did it. And in spite of anything that you might see today, there are obviously issues, but the overall impression is that it's been great. So first of all, why we did it. The first reason, that our first motivator, was that the issue of climate change, that we think is a very serious issue, and of course we're happy to actually give a talk about that if anyone wants. And we feel like we're just, by doing this, we're doing our bit. It's for every bit helps. This is a graph of the average number of days in Tel Aviv over 30 degrees. And you can see that in the last few years, that the number of days where it's over 30 degrees, like a day like today, is increasing and increasing. So climate change is a real issue, and this is one of the things that we feel like we're helping. And the other thing is, of course, that it pays for itself. I'll show you the financial kind of model and how it works, and it's really, we've got money back, in our account from Khibrat Khashmal, and it's a great feeling. And it's just so even if for someone, if it wasn't the issue, if they didn't have the issue with doing something that's good for the environment, then just from a financial point of view, it makes sense if it works out in your house. So what do you need in your house in order for this to actually happen? What you see in the picture there, that's those guys in the blue at the bottom there are in our garden busy installing the system. So that was before it all went live. And so first of all, you need the roof space, and note that we've got on all three sides of our roofs. We've got north facing, west facing, and south facing. Obviously, the panels that are south facing, and I'll be showing you lots of pictures about this. The panels that are south facing do most of the work, and in some of the north facing ones also do well, and the west facing ones do pretty well most of the year. When we installed them, I asked the guy, I said, is it worth putting panels on the north, because in winter that side doesn't get a lot of sun? And he said to me that in Germany, where they've got a lot of solar, he said their summer south is in some places like our winter north. He said so it's always worth putting on the north. So really, you see we've squashed them on all sides, and you can see some of them are laid out like flat, like upright, sort of portrait mode, and some are laid like landscape, like sideways. So that was to get them in, and I'll discuss in a second about the various obstructions on our roof. You need somewhere to put the inverter, which is the device that converts the DC from the solar panels into AC that's used in our electricity networks. And there's various electricity boards that also need to be mounted next to that. So that's basically where those guys are working over there. That's where we've put it, just on the outside. It's all outside. It's all outside stuff. It's all designed to be outside. And you also need a way to get from the solar panels to your main electricity board. So for us, we never put in any preparation 20 something years ago. So you can see that there's the wire like comes down off the roof over here along the front of our house. It's close to the middle, so no one really notices, and then it like goes down through the inverter along the wall actually through the mamad and then through the back wall of the mamad into our electricity board. So it follows quite a route that we had to choose with the guys, but it's it's doable. If you've obviously got some sort of conduit in your house from the roof down, then that's from a first floor, that obviously can make it easier. You need space on your actual electricity board, and you need Wi-Fi, because in order to see what's going on with the system, you need some sort of network connection. So either an actual network wire or cable, or Wi-Fi that's going to reach the where the inverter is on the wall, wherever it's situated. So this is our roof.
Yeah, so I missed the beginning. Can we ask questions?
Yeah, absolutely. How's it, Cliffy?
What about a flat roof? How's it?
So flat roof also is better, and I'll show you. I've got pictures of the shul. You'll see what a flat roof. The beauty about a flat roof is there's a few advantages to flat roof. I'd say the major advantage as an owner of a system is with a flat roof is that you can probably go up there and like clean it yourself and sort of check everything is okay yourself. With our roof, with a sloped roof, it's quite, I would say it is dangerous to go up there. I don't even like it when all these guys go up there. So I would never go up there and look at them, clean them, the panels. With a flat roof, you can get up there yourself, and also flat roof, you can aim them all in the same direction and towards south. So the only disadvantage of the flat roof might be that you might have slightly less space. Like the sloped roof, like we've got, is actually, the actual space is probably a bit more. So that's those are the. But you can definitely, I'll show you a picture of a flat roof of the shul soon enough. This was our roof before anything happened, when they came to do the survey. And what you see, so the white line is our roof, and next door is the neighbor's roof. Everything that's I've circled here, first of all, there was this thing here is a vent fan that was not working so well, a vent fan into our roof. So we decided to get rid of that because it would take up a whole spot of the whole panel. These things here are the toilet vent pipes that most houses have, these like pipes that go up from the sewage to the roof. They were sticking up like 30 centimeters above, so we had to get them cut down and get a special cap that was only 10 centimeters high put on top of them. So we had to order that specially so that the panels can sit on top of them. This was an old Yes satellite dish. We don't have Yes anymore, so we just got rid of that. And this we've got 3 windows into our roof. This one we thought was fine. We thought we'd be able to put the panels on either side. In the end, on the day, it didn't actually fit, and so we can't actually open this window now, which is not such a big problem, because it's sort of broken, and we didn't really open it that much, but we can't open this window anymore. Other things, there's another window on that side, window there, the actual dud and the actual kotim, for the dud itself. Obviously, all that stuff stayed where it is. So we had to work with whatever space was left. And one other thing I wanted to point out here is these trees. They provide amazing shade in our garden, but we actually cut them back once a year. What happens is, from now, about July, August, they shoot up, and you can see that there's shade on the bottom part of the roof from these trees, and that actually caused a problem around August, September, October last year. They were actually affecting the panels, the south-facing panels that were over here. So this year we might have to cut them back a bit earlier, or just watch them, keep them away from the roof. The other thing is there's the roof space, and I said this is the inverter and all the boards that are mounted on the wall outside. We keep saying, or I keep saying, that I'm going to build some sort of nice cover so that you won't see this next to our front door, but the truth is we probably don't notice it anymore. And then on our board, there's just the one switch that was added, and various stickers warning that there's a solar panel system in existence. So what comes with the actual installation? So there's the panels themselves, of course. There's the inverter that does the conversion and all the clever connection to the grid, and we'll talk about that in a second also. And these things called power optimizers, there's one for each solar panel, and those connect to the inverter. We decided to buy to include a cleaning system, which are these like sprinklers that spray the panels every night, every morning. And that's optional. You don't have to do that. If like I said before, if you've got a flat roof and you can get up there and clean them, then that's probably better than running the cleaning system. You know, if you otherwise if you don't have the cleaning system, then you've got to have to bring someone in to clean them at least twice a year, probably more if you don't have any cleaning system. So we took the cleaning system. It was about 6,000 shekels extra, and I would just say that of all the parts, you know, the panels, the inverter, these are all very, very well designed to last 20, 25 years. The cleaning system is basically just a normal sprinkler system. I doubt it's going to last. Already it's had issues, and I doubt it's going to last that long. So I expect we'll be making repairs to that. Already we need to. Lots of cables, mounting brackets, aluminium conduits, all sorts of things that they bring along to actually hook the thing up. And here you see these are they bought a crane, this like elevator crane thing to actually lift the panels up onto the roof on the day. So our system, we managed to squeeze in 24 panels on our roof. Each panel is 545 watts. It's a Chinese Jar solar. They're actually quite well thought of. So each one is 545 watts in theory. So in theory, if you say 24 panels times 545 in absolutely super ideal conditions, we should be generating 13 kilowatts. So just to clarify, there's a difference between what the power that the system can produce and what we sell to Chevrat Chashmal, or which is in kilowatt hours, which is the actual measure of electricity used. Which is basically, if you run a 13 kilowatt system for 1 hour, you've produced 13.8 kilowatt hours. So practically, though, the system, no solar system will actually reach the theoretical capability because of cable losses and the panel efficiency and numerous factors before we've even looked at, you know, the actual weather and sunshine and stuff. So the most we get out of it is about 9 to 10 kilowatts. Again, kilowatts, actual power we get out of it is that's peak. In summer and winter we get about between 4 to 5 kilowatts actual power out of all 24 panels running together. And that's factored into the whole design. So in other words, when we worked out the cost of the whole system, it took into account that they're not actually running the full 13 kilowatts. This is I'll discuss the app in a second, but we've got this amazing app there. You see I've just circled the model of the panel. It's the Jar Solar 545 watts. You can see that this is on the 19th of June 23 at like almost midday. And this is one of the west-facing panels, and you can see it's generating 408 watts of its 545 capacities, and that's about average when a panel is like really getting a nice sunny day and full blast. It'll be generating that, which again we're very happy with that. It works. It's what it's supposed to do. So the actual like theory of the paying back and how it works. So the cost of the system, including the sprinkler system, the cleaning system, was 70,000 shekels. And then based on our 24 panels, we're supposed to generate about 17.7, so that actually should be megawatt hour. That's a mistake. So I apologize. That should be, that would be too little. 17.7 megawatt hours. That should be an M over there. And then we get paid by Chevrat Chashmal for everything we sell to them. We get paid 48 agorot per kilowatt hour. So that works out to about 8,500 shekels a year. So if you divide that by the 70,000, it works out to a payback period of about between 8 and 9 years, which is about average. Most people you speak to, depending on the size of the system and how many panels and where they face and everything, that's about between 7 and 9 years is about average for current systems in Israel. And given that the panel warranty is 25 years and I think the inverters I think 15 or 20, the system's supposed to be around for much longer than that. And people who installed solar systems many years ago, like when it was just getting started in Israel, they've got systems that they've stayed running. The efficiency decreases over the 25-year period by a few percentage, but people are still making money on systems that have been going for 15, 20, 25 years. So I'm confident that it's gonna still be going. And there's people that I've spoken to that are very worried about this. They're like, will it actually work? Will Chevrat Chashmal still pay us in 10 years' time? Like, there's a contract we've signed with them. They're obliged to. I'm not worried. I'm really not worried that it's going to happen. Now, just an important point though. So we said that we get paid 48 agorot for everything we sell to them, but if we use the power during the day, then it actually comes off the panels. So we actually, it's as if, so instead of us paying Chevrat Chashmal for electricity that we would use, we would be paying, like everyone pays 60 agorot per kilowatt hour for using electricity. So we're actually saving that 60 agorot. So instead of selling that kilowatt hour that we're using live because our air conditioning is running, instead of selling it for 48 agorot, we're now using what would have cost us 60 agorot worth. So there's, it's I would say probably impossible to figure out exactly what's the right, basically the best scenario is to use as much as you can off the panels, but you can never know exactly what you're using at any given time. And the inverter is the box that does all the clever switching between what it sends out to the grid and sells to Chevrat Chashmal and what we get to keep and use.
So actually, the payback is even quicker if you take that into account.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, but so it's hard to sorry. So it's hard to know exactly what the payback is then. Because it depends on how much we used or could have used, and so but in theory, again, it should decrease the payback time. But even though we've got the system running, it's not like we now let's use electricity all the time. We still conserve, as much as possible our electricity usage. We've got small inverter air conditioning that we put in, Mitsubishi air conditioners upstairs that use very, very little electricity. We very seldom use the dud, actually switch on the dud. We hang our washing to dry instead of using the tumble dryer. We've got an inverter fridge. We use an induction stove, and we think about it, our electricity usage. So our usage is always lower than the average, and so that also has an effect. This just to show you this what a electricity bill looks like. This from April to June last year. We had to pay Chevrat Chashmal 421 shekels for electricity we used, like at night, basically. And then we generated in that period, they've got a smart meter that's outside our house. We generated 3,559 kilowatt hours, for which we got paid 1,708 shekels. And so they just, mix the two together and kizuz them, and you get, they had to pay us 1,286 shekels. And sure enough, a month later, that money gets put into our account. So that's always a thrill when that happens. So often, since we've had a few power failures recently, and people have asked me about this, and so this inverter, the solar edge inverter we've got is called a grid tie inverter, which means that it's tied to the grid, and it's feeding into the grid when we're not using it. And basically, if there's a power failure, in order to not endanger the lives of the Chevrat Chashmal people who come to the area to make the repairs, the system actually cuts itself off. So there's a whole theory about this. It's called islanding. There's a whole Wikipedia article. It's like far more involved than I would have ever imagined. But basically, the system, the inverter cuts off the electricity. So we lose power just like everybody else. And the whole system actually stays offline for at least 5 minutes, after power is returned, just to make sure that, again, that it doesn't start feeding power back into the grid when there's someone who could be still working on it. So we lose power just like everybody else. If we wanted to not lose power, we would need either be off grid or on sort of a partial grid, which is a different type of inverter. We would need some sort of battery backup. I don't know the prices, but everyone I've spoken to about this in the industry, and the people we bought from and stuff, they all just say, wow, they just like roll their eyes and they're like, wow, it's so expensive. But I've heard that Chevrat Chashmal are starting to encourage some sort of storage and batteries because it helps them with the grid management and the electricity management. So I haven't seen details about what that means in terms of how they're going to encourage people, but apparently they are wanting to encourage people to start having batteries. So I'm assuming eventually the prices, like many things, they'll start to come down. But for now, we've got the inverter we've got is a grid tie. And basically, the way that we think about it is that the electricity that we sell during the day, is we're sort of buying it back at night. It's almost it's like as if the grid is acting as storage for us. So we're selling it to Chevrat Chashmal, and they're keeping it for us, and we're getting it back, even though that's not actually what's happening. But we like thinking about it like that. So the app is very useful, and that's why the system needs to be connected to the internet. I usually check it every day, or every two or 3 days at least, since the system was activated on the 8th of Feb last year. So I'm going to show you some of the screens to see what sort of information we get. So this is a view of the actual panels and the usage. So this is on the 29th of December. So this is like the worst of winter. And the system is generating for a whole day. This is a snapshot at the end of the day. After a whole day of work, the system has generated 26 kilowatt hours. What you can see is that the panels that are on the north side of the house are generating, each one is generating, say 400 watt hours. So it's like half a kilowatt hour each one is generating for the whole day. The ones facing south, on the other hand, are getting quite a lot of sun, and they're generating, 2.5, say, kilowatt hours, and the west ones are around the 1 kilowatt hour. And compare that to July. This is now, the last week or two, where basically, here's my very scientific view of the sun, is that in summer, the sun is coming from much more east. It's much more overhead during the middle of the day, and going west, versus in the winter, it's very much to the south. So you can see the difference. You can see that in summer, the north-facing panels are generating, almost 3 kilowatt hours a day each. Almost the same as the south-facing panels and the west-facing panels. Everything's working fantastically, and we're getting to this one on this day 75 kilowatt hours. So you can see the difference. So again, this is in our situation, because of this arrangement where we've got some panels that are north-facing and some that are south-facing. So we've got a very variable output during the year. That's more than just related to the shortness of the day. So The other thing about this view that's interesting is you can immediately see where something might be going wrong. Like you see this panel here is at about 2.9 kilowatt hours versus the ones around it are at 3.2, 3.3. And that's because the panel is actually slightly damaged. This difference is insignificant. You know, it works out to I think it's like 4 shekels a month best case. So you're talking, you know, for the whole year. It certainly doesn't justify any activity immediately, but it's good to know that there's something wrong, and I'll show you later on what's probably wrong with it. So some other view. Here's the shul where the panels are on the flat roof. I think there's 42 panels in the system. It's a much bigger system, obviously, but and this is at face is actually slightly different again because the shul, of course, faces Jerusalem, so the north is slightly different here. But you can see on average, all the panels are generating the same throughout the year. They'll all generate almost the same. Some of them on the edges may be a bit different depending on if they, you know, shaded by the walls, depending on the sun's angle or whatever. But I don't have a screenshot of like in winter, but obviously it'll be less just because the day is shorter.
So after 8 years, we can expect our shul fees to reduce.
Very optimistic. But let's pretend. But just so you can get an idea, like the other thing that we take into account is obviously that the length of the day is obvious. There's more sunlight in summer. But the other thing is cloud. So this is a long sunny day. You see starting from like, you know, 6 in the morning till almost 7 in the evening. There's power being generated, and you know the peak is just after midday, and it's a nice smooth kind of curve because the sun was shining most of the day, and we got, you know, 82 kilowatt hours on that day. This is, you know, also in July, you know, this again like last week sometime, and it's just a cloudy day. So every time there's like major clouds, you can see these dips. So it affects the power generation, cloudy days. So on this day we would get like 72 kilowatt hours out of the system. That 72 watt is just to be clear there. But so cloud is a factor. This is from like January, which is again like a terrible time of year. But here we've got a short day. The north panels are not really working, as you saw, or they're working somewhat. I mean, we could look on the bright side and say they're still generating something, but it's also cloudy and rainy, and so just all around, you know, not so much. Even though again it's expected, it's doing what it's supposed to do, and it fits in with the plan, and the payback still works. But just when you're looking at it on the app, it's just disappointing to see that it's at 22. You know that in summer, you know, it can get to 70, 80. This is another like a long day, the day they were cleaning the panels. So there's a strange dip in the morning when they were cleaning the panels, and then in the afternoon there's some clouds. So you see these strange like jaggedy bits. So as you can tell, I look at the app a lot, and so I've become expert at telling what kind of day it's been cloud-wise and the like. The other thing the app tells us is compares production from, again, we've only been doing this since February last year. The blue is 2022 and the green is this year. You can see in April this year we did more than April last year, but May and June have been less. Again, the numbers are not significant. It's just, you know, maybe this year in my, you know, kind of view, I think it was just cloudier. So we generated slightly less this year than last year, but again, not significant. The numbers, you know, we're still over 2 megawatt hours for the month. It's still within the bounds of what it's supposed to be. The unexpected bits and pieces. First of all, we discovered, I spoke to someone else in the community who's got panels, and he said to me, after we'd installed them, and he said he's got a big problem with pigeons. So I kind of hoped that, okay, that wouldn't happen to us, but it did, of course. The pigeons moved in underneath the panels, between the roof and the panels. So we needed to, we had to put some sort of mesh up. So that was found a company who could do it for 3,000 shekels. You can see there's the mesh over there on the side that they put into, and that's been effective. It's a wire mesh. It's pretty solid, so it should last. The other thing is the cleaning. So although we've got the sprinkler system, as most of you, if you looked at your cars, you've seen that there's been these horrible sandy rains in the last few weeks. So even with the cleaning system, you can see there parts where the cleaning system has sort of worked, but there's this like mud rain that's really just totally covered the panels. So we actually had to call in someone to do the cleaning. So there's the bottom picture is after it was cleaned. You can see it looks all shiny and black again. This panel, if you look at this panel, you'll see there's a white stripe down the middle. One of the sprinklers has been knocked over, and it's actually like it's sort of calcified something like on the panel that's sort of marked the panel. And that's the panel I was telling you that's not functioning at full capacity because of this white stripe that's obviously blocking some of the cells. But again, it's not significant. We'll figure it out one day, but it's not money-wise. It's not a big deal. So those are those expenses we didn't expect. And like I said, if you had a flat roof, you would be going up there, and you could put your own mesh, chase away the pigeons yourself, clean the panels yourself. So probably that advantage. In terms of maintenance, there was a problem with a short with a wire that was getting wet when it started raining and the system was cutting off. Fortunately, very, very fortunately, they found it quite easily. It was down below. It was like somewhere near the inverter. There was a screw that had been drilled through a cable. So fortunately, they didn't have to like start disconnecting panels and trying to find where the short was. It was quite easy to find. The calcification on the panel I mentioned, that's an issue we'll deal with one day. Other issues just that we still haven't figured out, or that we'll still figure out. The one is insurance. People have asked me, and the truth is that I haven't followed this up. I should, about hail damage or the like. I need to check what I don't think it's included in our current house policy, but I need to look into that. Obviously, the long term, we're a year and a half in. As I said, we're very happy, but let's see what happens. The company that installed the panels for us, TDI, that did our house and did the shul, they were amazing. They were great. The installation team was great. The whole experience with them was amazing. They've gone out of business, so we're not sure about the continued maintenance of the system. I'm already speaking to the company that did the cleaning. Could probably take it over if we have any issues. Hopefully there won't be, Zrat Hashem. But anyway, so we've got to still figure out, what happens in terms of TDI. The last thing is gutters, because the sprinkler system runs every morning. It's actually it may be useful to put gutters around the top of our roof, because they were never put in when we built the houses. So those are the
just to say, because it's dirtying the windows. Sorry, the water.
Yeah, yes, the water's
causing our windows to look terrible. Yeah.
Yes. So the water's pouring off the roof, and every night there's water pouring off the roof. And if it's not waking the neighbors, none of them have complained. But at 4 a.m. every night, this water comes pouring off our roof. So the gutters would probably solve that problem. That's got to get around to that. And again, to summarize, it's working fantastically. It's financially it's working out, and we feel like we're doing the right thing, and we're happy we did it. And also we're an orla ashchenim. We're like a light to the neighborhood. People ask us questions. Maybe other people will be encouraged to do it as well. So we're on the whole very happy we did it. And there's our amazing picture of our panels. Any questions?
Yeah. I would have some.
Yeah.
And so just to make sure I understood it right, during the day, when the sun is shining, you're actually drawing from the electricity that's produced
Correct.
by the panels. Yeah, it's not just a calculation that it all goes in the grid and then
Correct.
you're actually using the electricity from the panels.
Correct.
Yeah, very good. Okay. And technical question, I think it's the Solar Edge device that
Yeah. The inverter.
that the app connects to that.
Yes.
Is that right? And is it via Wi-Fi or can it plug into your router via Ethernet?
So if you can get an Ethernet cable to it, then you can plug it into an Ethernet cable. Otherwise, Wi-Fi. We actually put an extra Wi-Fi point nearby so that it would have good coverage.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the one in the shul is connected via cable. It's
Very
up on the
good.
roof. It's miles away. Yeah.
My other question was about the company who installed it. That's really sad to hear that they did a good job, but went out of business.
Yeah. Yeah. As I say, they were really, it's really great to work with them, with the installation team. They were such good people. So yeah.
That's can be hard to find.
Well, so there's lots of companies. That's the thing.
Okay.
And you can just, go to a lot of companies and get quotes and
Solar Edge themselves, I think, will also do installations.
Oh, really? So Solar Edge, we had when they thought that the short in our system was being caused by the inverter, then Solar Edge came along and just replaced the inverter completely without no questions asked. So it turned out not to be the inverter, but so, anyway.
Abi, the savings at the shul, have they been similar to?
Well, the shul again, because it's a bigger system, so it's proportionally it's generating much more actual like the actual shekels, thousands that is generated is more than ours, obviously. So there's but there's some technical issues with the shul and the installation, and which as always everything with the shul, but yeah, it's working fine. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Av. That was great. Even for me, I finally understood it.
Yeah, sorry, I do have one more question.
Yeah.
I think you showed a photo near the beginning of the boxes on the outside of your house, and then and then your circuit breakers inside.
Yeah.
So actually, on the inside, there was very little. That was just basically one of those modules installed in your circuit breaker.
Yes, there's the one extra trip switch, basically.
Yeah. So is that typical, or is it that
No, that's it.
Okay, so the other things that are outside, that's normally they go outside.
Yes, yeah. And you can see all these boxes that they've bought are all waterproof. They're all meant to be outside.
Yeah.
I didn't get the impression from them that anyone puts this stuff inside.
Okay.
It's all supposed to be, so.
Yeah. And I know I'm interested in a certain amount of storage if I do this, because I would like it to be able to.
Yeah.
We had power outages a month or two ago.
Yes.
And so I thought, okay, if you get a system like this, that's ridiculous if you cannot be a certain amount energy independent. So if you do get batteries, some of them I know they can, like for example, the Tesla Powerwall. It's not available in Israel, but
No.
that mounted either indoors or outdoors, you can actually choose.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I can't get my video to work. Sorry. So you're seeing
no
a picture
problem.
of me. What is involved in getting an estimate, and the estimate not just for the cost, but also for the estimate of what I can produce, depending on how my house is like set up and so on.
Right.
How do they do that? Do they have a little drone going up?
Yeah.
They need my
Absolutely.
blueprints.
No, it's the drone. So they come. They're very organized. So they come. You can contact. Again, I wish I could say everyone speak to TDI, but of course we can't. So
understand.
you speak to Volta or these guys. I'll get the name of the guys who clean the panels. Seems very nice. Also, they come. They'll explain how it all works, rough costs, and then they bring a drone. Almost that's today that's everyone that comes with their drone. They snap this is their drone photograph of the roof.
Right.
And then they send that away and they do like a rough layout of where the panels would go on.
Okay.
And then they can roughly see how many panels they could squeeze in, and once they've done that, they can tell you what size system you would have, what the payback would be, and everything. So they do all that calculation for you.
Okay, very nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have another question. That circuit breaker module that's circled.
I'm going downstairs. I'll wait for you downstairs.
Okay.
What does that actually do?
That actually provides. It's a good question. As far as I understand, it provides power to the inverter. So if you kill that, then it actually shuts the whole system down. I mean, the panels obviously keep producing electricity, but it doesn't go anywhere. It disconnects them all.
Okay.
So yeah.
I have another question. Are all the panels, or from all the companies, one standard size, or does every company have different panels from different places, whatever, American made, Chinese made, European made?
I think a lot of people use obviously the Chinese panels because they're cheaper. There's a European make also, but I think that the size is pretty standard.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a picture of the size. I think they're quite big actually. When they were on the ground, you don't actually realize when they were on the ground how they're actually quite huge things. But I think that the size, because I was looking at these triangles here, and I was like, can't you bring like a small little panel and squeeze it into that triangle over there? And they were like, no, these are the panels, and that's that. So
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
After you need to go at some.
Yeah, I need to go. So I'm gonna have to stop. So
He's got
thank
an
you.
appointment.
Okay,
Yeah.
really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody, and
Thanks,
we'll
cheers,
record it,
good
and Jude will send it out. If you've got more questions, then so happy to
Yeah.
discuss and ask and answer questions.